Hello. Today, this is the the second episode of Transit Review. I hope you like it. Please subscribe and click the bell notification down below. Today, this is about transpo Route 95. Obviously, an ancient route that we all used to know. I mean, the only people who don't know are babies, and they've been born post-2019, born in the years of 2019. Or frankly born in any of the last years of the 95 and have grown into being little kids on it, where they can actually are cognitively aware of bus routes. But most of us, we are quite aware, including I. We're talking, in this case, as I'm reading some lines here from this, Route 95, which was the first cross-regional route, it was never, from the start, currently, the 95 when it got cancelled, sorry if I'm being jumbly, when the 95 got cancelled in 2019, the route went between Trim Road Park and Ride in the east and Cambrian Minto Complex in the west. Southwest, really. It's the area of Cambrian, effectively. Sorry, I'm saying effectively too many times. The route that was not its current route. I mean, originally, a lot of us also know it when it was just into the Barton Center. But here's what the 95 originally did. Back when it was created on the 2nd of June, 1980, it went between Bayshore Shopping Center, before Bayshore Station existed, and Beacon Hill. Beacon Hill Shopping Center probably now being just some small, dingy little thing, not something as mighty as it probably used to be, or probably never was that mighty in the first place. But the 95 would evolve over time. By the time of probably somewhere around the 80s and late 80s into the 90s, the route would take its shape. But at this time, the 95 actually started in Nepean and ended in Gloucester and went through Ottawa. This was when Ottawa-Carleton was still a thing, i.e. when Ottawa was still multiple different cities and townships at this point. The bus went from Bayshore, which was in Nepean, as I keep on repeating myself, through Ottawa itself, usually via the highway or stopping in Carlingwood at one point, actually, and up Woodruff on the Parkway, then just down Albert through downtown, and then kind of just back down Nicholas and onto the highway again. Stops at the train station, continues on to San Laurent Shop Center, and then just continues on Ogilvy, going probably through what would eventually become Les Cités, or probably was Les Cités at the time, I don't really know. But point being, it just would head up Ogilvy continuously to, Beacon Hill. That was the original 95. The 95 itself would shape itself over time to become the route we currently know, by the time of the 90s. By the time, probably the late 80s, early 90s, when the transit was about being built. Because the 95 originally was just cross-regional and would probably a good chunk of its time on the highway and long roads, which it did. Now it had the transitway, so it's now far more longer, but also it's faster. And also, by the time of the 90s, it's no longer going to Beacon Hill or Bayshore anymore. It's not even going to Carlingwood anymore. It's by the time of the 80s and 90s when the transway got built, it's just going from Baseline all the way, Baseline in the west, eventually Fallowfield, all the way to Place Orleans, and eventually Trim itself, and then, eventually Barton Center, when that part of the transway was built in the early 2000s, early 2000s, mid-2000s to the 2010s. Well, we all know this route. This route would also do, as a part of a pilot project, bring service to the market on around in 2000. The bus would go after 1 a.m. When instead of going to Mackenzie King Station, it would go through the it would go closer to the Byware Market on Rideau Street. Well, market is technically kind of better. The market's on Rideau Street, but most of the market's north of that in Lower Town. But effectively, the bus, the 95, still did it right up to its cancellation. Well, not cancellation until it got built. What happened to Poland in about 1939? Sorry, my dark reference. Later trips were added via Rideau Street in 2003 on Rideau Street, added in 2003 on Thursdays. And then around the late 2010, or around the late 2010s, on September 6, 2009, the route started to operate 24/7 between Placer Lanes and Byron Center, making us Transpo's first transit system to offer 24-hour service in commercial transit route in Canada. And then, as the 2010s came along, and the death of the night, and these early morning night routes, these light blue things, their death came pretty quick. They existed for quite a time, and then they were ended just for the sake of they weren't useful anymore. And as the transway kept getting closed for stage 1, buses 9 to 5 in this case, originally was just moved repeatedly off the transitway and whatever not. But before the closures of the transitway, the 95X, which used to exist, the midday trips, the 95X still continue to exist, but it's midday trips, it's midday, sort of like you're not dealing with all the 95X trips. A good bit of them became the 91, which, frankly, the 91 shared the same fate to the 95, being technically divvied up between the 74 and the 74 and 75 and 39. The route does not serve Herdman, nor does not serve Leeds in the westbound direction when they close between Herdman and Blair. Pretty much stops at the upper level of Leeds on trips traveling to Orleans. And as a result of the no longer servicing Herdman, those Transpo had a problem. Buses now, unless you want to take a 96 and 92 to get to Saint Laurent, or 97, back to Leeds or something. Actually, they don't even stop at Leeds to, King Edward, in front of the university. The route had a problem. It could no longer pick up. It was now difficult to get between Herdman and Placer Lanes. So, the 104 was created in its place. The 106 was connections to 106 and Saint Laurent for easier transfer to the General Hospital. Now, as they kept closing it, with the closure of campus, it serves King Edward. Service was decreased around 2016. A bunch of other things were going on at this time. And then on the 24th of December 2017, the final ever change that was not a schedule change, the final change to occur being the end of the 177, and it's folding to the 95, gaining its current distance. Well, before it got cancelled, but its current distance. This means the route was unbelievably long. A long route. So, I hope you like, but this is where this ends, as it gets cancelled, and line 1 pretty much Chinese Blair takes that section. The 39 and 75 take over. The 39 goes between Blair and Placer Lanes, which was extended through ending the 22, and, adding the section past Trim the Millennium. And then the service between Tiny's Pasture and Cambrian replaced by the 75. And that's where it ends. I hope you like, subscribe, and click the bell notification down below. Now, signing off.